Okay, we're here. It is week 5 of the podcast. Congrats to us on doing this for more than a month. It's more than I
We
stick to
did
most things. We
it.
did it, and many more months to come because this is a lot of fun. Um, yeah, so week 5, we're gonna get into some stuff. We got a nice interview ready for everyone at the halfway point. But to kick it off, let's talk about the new albums of the week. Brett, you want to start it off? Your pick where we go first, because there's two big ones that we were talking about.
No, I feel the same about both of them, but let's kick it off with Jack White.
All right, Jack White. What was the album called? I'm not even sure of the name. Just been calling it Jack White's new album.
Is it Fear the Dawn?
Fear the Dawn. Well, I
Or is that
fear
just the song I'm like obsessed with?
it is no Fear of the Dawn.
Fear of the Dawn. There it
Oh,
is.
ominous. Um, yeah, this was a cool album. It was very White Stripesy, obviously. It's Jack White. Um, I thought it was cool. His guitar playing is like off the hook. He's using
It was
some
insane.
crazy pedals and like it's very fuzzy and like he does some stuff that I don't hear a lot of people do. What were your first thoughts on it?
So I remember not being crazy about his last album. I feel like he tried to experiment a lot on it, but this one seemed like him getting back to his White Stripes roots. And he just rocked out. And it was just like I was sitting there just smiling, listening to it because like I grew up loving the White Stripes. And it was like everything a White Stripes fan would want to hear in 2022. Like it was that good. He shredded, the songs went hard. And honestly, it's like probably the release of his that I've been looking for since he put out. I think it was his first solo album with Lazaretto on it. That's
Uh,
my favorite
yeah,
solo song of his.
yeah,
But it's like an album. This is like an album full of Lazarettos though, and I love it.
it was super cool. It definitely gave me like old school um Jack White vibes, like White Stripes and everything. Um, I
This
liked
is the
how
first of two albums coming out too.
so it's like a double album, but not a double album.
Yeah. Next one's a folk album, I believe. So it'll be his folkier side.
Ooh, I kind of like that. He keeps it separate because I guess if you had like a heavy guitar album like he does, and then just like every other track there's a folk song, it might kind of disrupt the flow. Um,
Like I
you,
disrupted your flow with your answer before.
when you hicked me, Brett likes to just shout my name, but calling me Hick, and it always throws me off every time. But I love it. Um,
And it's not like an insult. It's because when we did a project in college, Nick was a fake reporter named Hick Nodgen instead of Nick Hodgen. So
that's
that's
right.
the roots of that one. Not
Yes.
an insult.
No, I interviewed myself with some clever camera work and was not the assignment, but I think the teacher was just too stunned to give me a bad grade because it was such a ridiculous premise.
It was it was that creative.
The things I'll do to go out of to get out of doing actual work is probably way more work. But back to fear of the dawn. What I thought was really cool that he did was I was playing this album and my friend Mike was listening to it and he's like, "Oh, I know this song called Taking Me Back. It's the first song on the album." And he listens to a lot of radio. So I learned that this song was the single and it's been out for, I don't know, a few weeks, whatever, whenever singles come out. But what
You
was
know, I
so,
didn't know that was out.
yeah, well, definitely you didn't know. You wouldn't have listened to it. I'm just gonna like try and trick you into listening to singles. It's like it'll be like I'm rickrolling you, but making you listen to actual songs.
Had in a QR code like the Rise Against video.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'll be like, your mom is calling and has a very important message that you need to hear. And I'll just like blast the new single in your ears. Um,
New Silverstein.
are they due? Hold on, we're getting very sidetracked.
Getting sidetracked.
The first song, Taking Me Back, was the single. But what he did was this song seamlessly goes into the second song. It's kind of the same riff. So you just get like 2 more minutes of it. So you know the single, but if you actually listen to the album, there's more to the song that you didn't know about. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
And those last 2 minutes are insane. Like Fear of the Dawn is probably easily my favorite song. I just kept hitting repeat on like over and over again on Friday because it's probably the hardest he's gone in a really long time on a song.
Yeah, I think I said whoa quite a few times listening to that one. And then
And then like as soon as he starts soloing in the middle,
there was one towards the halfway point, maybe a little further towards the end. Maybe it was this reprise. It was very spacey and like stonerish, and I thought it was super cool. I
I think
wish
it
I
was the
wrote it down.
reprise.
Yeah, that probably makes sense because that's what reprises tend to do, is just like expand on the instrumental side of a song. But yeah, I enjoyed this album. I don't know that I'd really go back to it too much though. And that probably just has more to do with me than anything. Um, it was cool. The songs were good. The guitar playing was awesome, but I think it's just not what I'm looking for personally when I something about it. I don't know if I'm just more lyric driven and that's what keeps me coming back to specific albums, but I was still glad I listened to it. And I'll definitely come back to a couple songs, but it didn't get the most play of the week for me.
No, I hear you. Like I was definitely more drawn to instrumentals on this one, but I still think it's going to be in my rotation for a while, just because I can put it on when I'm working, and he can just
True, true.
shred away in the background while I work
That's a good point. And
or at the
also,
gym.
I would love to see it live. Like I would go see him live and not be super familiar with his songs. And I mean, I've done that in the past. I saw him at oh, I was kind of telling you this off air. I saw him at Gov Ball a few years ago, or probably like 10 years ago at this point. Um, and he played um what the hell is it called? I'm drawing a blank right now. What's like the song?
Seven Nation Army.
Yes, thank you. And the crowd kept doing the oh, 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 oh. And the song ended and he wanted to play other songs and the crowd would just not stop doing it. And he was kind of getting frustrated, like, guys, please stop. I want to play more songs. And you're just like, thousands of people just in unison would not stop because everyone's probably like hammered. It was the end of the night and they just were relentless singing Seven Nation Army. It was so funny. The show ended, everyone's leaving, they're still singing it. I crack up every time because it was just no one would stop. But I would love to see him live. I'd love to see him do all this live. I think it would be very cool.
He's near the top of my list to see live now, and it's kind of crazy how that song Seven Nation Army just became like this huge anthem. Because I remember like it was just like this weird like music videos on MTV when it first came out, and now it's heard in like every single like sports stadium around the world. Like there's soccer chants in Europe. They do it here for football games. They do it here for hockey and basketball games. It's I'm sure he's like, why did this song get so big? And like it's like haunting him now. I'm sure he hates it if you
He's
were to like
got it.
ask him about it, but
He's got to. It's one of those things where you can start that chant anywhere and people are going to know it. They might not even know where it came from. They're going to know how that goes. It's almost like he wrote like a riff or like a melody like way bigger than him. Like I feel like this existed well before Jack White. He just kind of like
he blew it up.
yeah, he like pulled it out of thin air or something. He had a spiritual experience and like this riff just needs to exist in the world. It's yeah, that's it's something.
So I'm looking just for fun on Spotify. So it has over 1 billion listens. And I don't really see too many songs that
Wow.
have 1 billion listens.
A billion, the Billy
A
Club.
billion, the 1.39 billion.
Wow. Wow. We should look into one week like the most played songs on Spotify. I'd be very curious. I mean, someone's got to have the crown. Would it be like Taylor Swift or something? I don't know.
Her or Drake, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, that information's definitely out there. If we had a producer, he or she could look it up right now, but we don't have a producer.
If you're interested
So
in producing, send us an email.
yeah, please. I want emails. I want voicemails. We get them, but we get them as texts. I want a stranger. If you're listening to this and you don't actually know us, please send us a voicemail. It would be the most exciting thing to ever happen in the last 5 weeks of podcasting.
Not that we
Um,
mind hearing from friends, but it's nice to be able to hear from some new friends.
Oh,
Possibly.
yeah. Well said, Brett. Very well said. So the other album this week was Papa Roach, Ego Trip, which, oh wait, Brett, did you want to talk about the album cover? Because I remember you telling me for Fear of the Dawn that you really
I
liked
feel
the
like
album
it's
cover.
definitely worth its own topic on another episode, but I did love the album art. I think it's probably one of my favorite album covers I've seen in a while. It's up
Yeah.
there with like Homesick and probably like Three Cheers, My Chem.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah. Yeah. It's just this, it's this guy in suspenders, kind of looks like a dude in the 50s who just got out of work. I mean, I guess, is it supposed to be Jack White? I don't really know.
I think it
Standing
is,
in,
right?
I guess so. Yeah, probably. Jack White probably just looks like a dude from the 50s if I had to if I had to guess. Um, yeah, he's standing among like all this like broken wood, could be like driftwood or something. And then the moon is very full. Dawn is probably right around the corner. There's like a Cadillac behind him. It's pretty cool. We should
Just the
definitely go
sky and the
down.
trees.
Yeah, we should go down like our favorite album covers
Yeah.
at some
So I
point.
was saying, I think we could do our whole deep dive into that.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
even with a
absolutely.
guest.
Ooh, yeah.
If we find an album artist, that'd be a good one.
Oh, that's a great idea. Um,
See, we're brainstorming over the episode
yeah, that's how it's done. A little behind the scenes. Um, Speaking of cool album covers, I thought the Pop Roach album cover was very cool. Also, this Ego Trip cover. It's like a giant ant in a field. There's some windmills or like a Ferris wheel in the background, and it
like a
just says,
carnival behind it. I've been trying to figure it out.
I think Carnival sounds good because that definitely looks like a Ferris wheel and then maybe some sort of roller coaster. Um, yeah, it's chirpy looking, which I guess is what they were going for, if I'm guessing off the name.
I think you nailed
Um,
it.
I liked this album way more than I expected. I did not think I was gonna like it too much, and specifically the back half. So it's kind of funny because this doesn't happen too often. The first half of the album, I don't really care for, to be honest. Like it's it's a lot of rapping and like the single Swerve isn't, I don't like love too much, but when you get to Dying to Believe and On, it's awesome. I've been listening from track 8 to the end like a ton of times this whole week. Um the song Leave a Light On, I didn't know Jacoby could sing like that. It's
I didn't either.
really good. It gave me Brent from Shinedown vibes at points.
Ooh, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, I actually checked. I'm like, is he featured on this? But no, it's just Jacoby who, like, I don't know if they have other slower songs that I just never heard, but I've never heard him sing like that, and I was very impressed. Um, yeah, the back half of this album is is very good. I would highly recommend just going to track 8 and listening to the end.
And starting from there.
Yeah, right around there, Dying to Believe. Because I mean, I would like to just start at Leave a Light On, but I like to kind of like build some anticipation for myself to get to the get to the song I really like. But they're all good. Um, the rap rock works pretty well. It's definitely more rock heavy on the back half, but yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. I've been listening to it a ton, and they're going to be at this festival I'm going to, so it's like a
The
double
bonus.
dip. Yeah, anytime I could listen to a band that I know I'm going to see and genuinely be into them is always a nice surprise. Papa Roach 2022, crazy. Did you like it, Brett? What
So I feel like we're pretty aligned here. Although I do like Kill the Noise from the front. And I
Yeah,
do for
oh
some
true.
reason like Swerve, even though I know it's like it is bad rapping, but there's something like catchy about it that I like. But honestly, like this is probably the most I've liked a Papa Roach album since they put out like Metamorphosis in 2009, the one that had like Lifeline on it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Damn, that's a while ago.
And because they've been weird with their like last couple of albums, like they've gone like tried to do like electrical music, and they definitely have tried to experiment, but it hasn't really worked. So it seems like they kind of went back to what they know they're good at on this one.
Yeah,
And I think they nailed it. Like who I would have never guessed I'd be liking a Papa Roach album this much in 2022. Like they were
Yeah.
like a big high school band for me, but they kind of faded a little bit. But this one, I'm like enjoying like every second of it, especially the back half. Like I think No Apologies is like one of the best songs they've done as a band. I know
Oh
that's a
yeah.
bold statement, but that was probably my favorite off the album.
Yeah. That was a great one. Um, yeah, that was interesting. You mentioned the electronics because it's you hear them on this, but not crazy. It just kind of like helps to emphasize some breakdowns or things like that. And I
They
thought,
sprinkled it in. They didn't like douse you in it.
yeah, exactly. Like they did a really good job of using it to complement the album instead of being like the focal point. Because I bet a lot of these bands, like when they found the electronic stuff, they just wanted to do as much with it as they could because it was new and exciting. But I think they used it. They used it very well. Yeah, who knew? I was I honestly I got through the first half and I stopped, and then the next day I went back to it, but I started at the halfway point, and I'm so glad I did.
No, the second half is definitely like a lot better. Like you can pretty much skip like Liar, Ego Trip, and Unglued, but then like Dying to Believe, Through I Surrender are all good songs.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Just the second side of the record. Just keep it there.
And there's like
Um,
something about like his rapping I like. Like I know he's like it's like an insult to rap, but at the same time, it's great for who the band is, if that makes any sense at all.
it
But
it does because I was thinking that too. Like, not that it's like an insult, but I know what you mean. Where you hear him rapping and you're like, this isn't like you want to say like I don't know if he's not supposed to would be the right phrase. That's kind of like aggressive, but that's who Papa Roach is. Like Papa Roach has been they've been rapping since the beginning. It's just part of
it's
their
last resort.
yeah. So I don't know. I think at first it is a little maybe jarring, but I liked it. I thought they did a good job. I'm excited to see it
And it
live.
made me that yep, you just took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say this album makes me want to see them live again. Because like they always let me try that one more time. I'm like stumbling over my words here. I'm so excited about this album. But but like they're a phenomenal live band. But I haven't seen them in a really long time. But I would put them up there with like Green Day as far as bands, how they play live.
Oh wow.
Like they sound even better live and they're great musicians. And it comes out in their live shows more than on their albums. So if they're touring around here, like I wouldn't mind going to see them. I think they
Yeah.
played like the summer stage a couple years ago, but I don't know what their plans are for this year.
Yeah. I know I mean, they put out an album, they're on this festival. I'd imagine they're touring, and if not, they probably have one planned for the
Like a
fall.
fall
Or
tour, maybe. Yeah,
please be fall. I can't fit more
that's what I'm
summer.
hoping.
Like
Trying to put that into the universe.
I know. We were talking about um the Modest Mouse tour during the interview later on. And I remembered why I can't go to that because it's Memorial Day weekend. Like
Yeah,
that's kind of tough
I'll be
to
coming
get.
back from like Arizona that weekend.
Yeah, like got plans with people. I can't just like run off to see Modest Mouse at the Stone Pony. But honestly, I would really like to.
Yeah,
But they tour all the time, so it's fine.
we'll see them again.
Yeah. There was some interesting news that happened this week between Rolling Stone and the Grateful Dead. Did you see this? Did you hear about this? Did you see
No,
this? So, um,
breaking news to me.
so Grateful Dead is or what's it called? They're not called the Grateful Dead. They have the other name now. Um,
Is it
Dead
Dead
and
and
Company.
Company?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So they're like restructuring their contract basically, kind of allowing for like a revolving door. The way I understood it, like John Mayer is not, I don't know if he's done completely, but he's definitely not locked in or like an essential member of it anymore. But Rolling Stone puts out this article, this headline that Dead and Company announced like the end of the band and there won't be any more touring. And Bob Weir and like some of the other guys were tweeting. They're like, "This is news to us. Are we done touring? No, no one told me." So what happened was, my friend at work told me this, so who knows, but what allegedly happened was Rolling Stone kind of got the inside scoop of this new contract deal, but they misinterpreted it to think that Dead and Company was done rather than just this iteration of it is done. So they jumped the gun with what they thought was a hot tip and got it wrong. And yeah, that was kind of funny. Rolling Stone, do better.
Be right, not first.
Yeah. Shout out Morano. Our journalism professor.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's a listener.
it got me thinking about Rolling Stone. Like they really, I don't know. Do you read them much these days?
Not anymore. No, I used to, like in high school and college. I had a subscription. That's like back when I was like reading like alternative press too, but they both kind of went down the wayside. I could
Yeah,
find like better, like there's like Broken Vegan's good, Chorus is good. Like
yeah.
there's these sites that you can go to and get all your news from that kind
I,
of leave out all the,
I read a great
I don't
article
know the word I'm
on
looking for, but
the nonsense,
the
the BS, the
nonsense. Yeah.
clickbait. Yeah.
They
I read
cover
a
the same band. They
great,
put the same bands in the cover over and over.
yeah, it's almost like you don't know who's in control, like the way they push some of these bands. Um,
Like
but I
we
read a
missed the
great article
heyday.
on Stereo Gum the other day. I don't know if
That's a
they're
good one too.
the article was great. Like I'm gonna go back, but it was an interview with Jewel, and she was talking about like coming up as an artist and sexism she had to deal with, and like like how people wanted her to compromise like her ideas and sell out, and like she was very adamant on like not going to a label and getting an advance, and like it was super interesting. She is really smart. I wound up reading the whole article. I was like, I don't even know why I clicked it. I can't even tell you a Jewel song, but yeah,
Now I'm
great
gonna look that
article.
one up.
Yeah. I'll
Up Rocks is good too.
oh yeah. Yeah, so there's good music journalism out there. It's just not coming from Rolling Stone anymore, which is
No, I
kind of sad, but maybe they'll turn it around. Who knows?
think their best days are behind them, unfortunately. And we missed that whole run of like the 70s and 80s too.
Yeah, just go back and read Hunter S. Thompson stuff and like crazy
That's
articles.
all you need.
Okay, so you want to get into the interview?
Yeah, let's grin and bear it to the interview.
Let's do it. Let's talk to Brian. Okay, we now welcome on a very, very special guest. He is the singer, songwriter, and face of the Heart on Your Sleeve New Jersey band known as Grin and Bear. Their new record, Naturally Goes, is available this Friday, April 15th. We are joined now by Brian Perrino. You can find him sitting in the back of the line, probably cross-legged, breathing out light, love, and goodness. Brian, thank you so much for coming on. We can't wait to get into the new album with you. Just to kick it right off, how does it feel to have all your work of working on this album be coming to a culmination where you can finally share it with the world?
That was so thoughtful and sweet. Thank you. That was amazing. I couldn't
You're
oh
welcome.
my God. It feels really, really good. I'm excited for people to hear it, and I'm just really excited to be able to share it and talk about it, but also just share it and see what people think.
How long has this album been in the works? Do you finish an album and kind of just immediately start writing? Are you always writing? How does it go?
Yeah, I'm always writing. So when we were in the studio recording Be Gentle, which was in 2019, I was working on the first one or two songs from this one. And so this album has kind of been a writing process that started in 2019 and then maybe took like a 6 to 8 month break at some point, and then in 2020 geared up and became an actual serious project again.
Was
Oh,
that
nice.
was like a large part of that due to the pandemic, like kind of because everyone was sitting around inside, not able to really go anywhere, that got you to dial in 2020, or was it kind of that was the plan all along?
No, there was no specific plan. we in the early 2020 we released Be Gentle, and the plan was actually to we had a tour booked. The plan was actually to kind of explore that as much as we could. We wanted to see if people would like it. We wanted to see if we could kind of expand it out as much as possible. And that immediately was not able to happen, which was okay. So then a friend and I booked an Airbnb in 2020 to just get together and write, like separately and together, for a little over a week. And during that time, I wrote a majority of this one. And so then I decided I needed to, do it.
Wow. So you wrote a lot of this album in that Airbnb week run?
Yeah, a
That's
lot.
amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
it was fun. It was cool.
so do you kind of work on all the lyrics and go from there, or is it different for a lot of the songs? Um,
For the
yeah,
most part, I actually write lyrics and music together. And so I'm usually just playing guitar, and whatever comes out, I start to kind of explore a little bit more. And so there are a lot of different renditions of the songs with different lyrics and different melodies and different guitar parts. And then if I have a lyric or something that I really like, then I'll try to explore that more. And sometimes I'll write the lyrics and I'll actually finish out the lyrics. And sometimes I'll write the music, but for the most part, they go together.
interesting. Um,
Yeah.
you mentioned when you really like lyrics, and you also mentioned Be Gentle. And I noticed on Porch on this album, you revisited some of the lyrics from the last album. Why why those lyrics? How'd that kind of come to be?
Yeah, I love always do that. That's been one of my favorite things, is to continually reference the universe of the Grin and Bear lyric universe. Just because it's fun. Um, I think specifically Cross-Legged because, first of all, the initial when I had first gotten into meditating specifically, um, I went down the Be Gentle path, and so it was very much a resistance to the way I had lived my life for 25 years, which was with a lot of anger and frustration. And so the meditation had brought me to a lot of those realizations. Now, if you sit long enough, all that bad shit that you thought you were getting that was you were getting rid of, it comes back and it's still there and it's full force. It doesn't go away. And so this album is revisiting that. Like if you keep sitting cross-legged, the anger, the frustration is going to come back. And at the end of that song, that's when I say I just yell, I'm upset that I'm sitting and I'm practicing, and I'm still the same, I say.
Yeah, when is this going to
Which,
work? What's going on?
yeah. So that felt like rose-colored glasses a bit, Be Gentle, and which was necessary. And this feels like oh, that's not going to last forever. Like I still have to exist in the world and exist as a human. I'm a human first, and so I'll feel all of those human emotions. Yeah.
I think kind of piggybacking off that, like I feel like one of the moments that really like struck me the most from this new album was Tonglin, like because that just made me think like so much, and it's like such a great message too. So is that kind of like all of the meditation that like you were like had going on or were thinking about? You channel that all into the track, you'd say?
Yeah. So that is actually a Tibetan meditation in the Mahayana tradition, which is like it's a tradition that I'm not the poster person for, so I can't necessarily speak on it as much, but it is the tradition of the bodhisattva, which is the being who waits to be enlightened until everyone is. So basically someone who works on themselves, but then spends basically their whole lives helping others. And so that's a practice. Breathing in the darkness and breathing out the light is a practice in that tradition to build resilience, but also to connect with other people's pain and suffering and connect with their joy too. And see that we're connected to them anyway. That's just a way to actually explore that a little bit more deeply.
It's such a powerful message. You just that pain and suffering are inevitable. It's like something you don't really think about, but it's true. Like everyone goes through pain and suffers, but some people like to kind of bury that away while others like to face it head on.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mentioned it in that I think I cause myself a lot more suffering trying to create a perfectly pleasurable world, and I still do it, and I think about it all the time, and I'm still doing it like every day. And so that type of practice just allows you to experience the real world a little bit more for what it is.
It grounds you, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mentioned it earlier how your music is very hard on your sleeve. It's vulnerable, it's sensitive, and I know we live in a world where mental health has really kind of taken a front seat lately, which is a wonderful thing. I'd have to imagine though that it might still be kind of difficult talking about these things and singing about them, like just putting yourself out there like that. Have you found it to be easier with more albums, or is it something that you like enjoy?
Yeah, it's easier to be more honest with more albums. The more that I do it, it's easier to be more honest because I used to be able to filter a lot more and be honest about the things that everyone else that I already knew was acceptable and like that other people I'd listened to were talking about. But it's opened up. Being able to do it for so long at this point has opened up a little bit more liberties for me to be honest about my individual self and not even just necessarily depression and anxiety, but just managing things that traditionally are seen as bad, but we all have, like we're lying about having, like anger and frustration and judgment and all of this stuff, and sometimes a complete lack of empathy when someone is suffering right in front of you and you for some reason just can't feel it, and other times you can. So I think the general mental health struggles have been relatively easy to talk about, but the true like honesty about the fact that I have all of the good and all of the shitty qualities of a human, talking about that has been the hardest thing for sure. And I still only show a little bit of those, you know, not that, I
Yeah.
mean, not that I should be just show, you know,
Yeah.
but it's an invitation to others. Like, it's okay. Like, don't, because it causes so much more, talking about causing more suffering, it causes so much more suffering to deny and act like you don't have these things, because then you have this little secret where you think you're the worst person at you're a little worse than everyone else because you believe that everyone else doesn't feel any anger or whatever. I'm using that
Yeah.
one, but it could be any. Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you and so many artists in this genre are willing to write songs about this kind of stuff, because I know as a fan and a listener, like it helps to listen to. And we pick and choose what we want to fill our ears with all day. And to hear you singing I Can Handle Anything and me singing along to that, it's a positive thing to be putting out there as I'm going about my day. And it's real nice addition. uh, I appreciate it. I like it a lot.
Liberating in a way.
Yeah, I can't wait to sing it live.
Yeah, that was a very conscious choice to stop singing about things that were not beneficial to me at all. Like because if I'm writing it, I'm the one who's it's in my head so much. So I'm training myself to form these habits of saying these things. Like I hate myself, or like I hate this job, or my friends hate me. Like those are actual lyrics on in earlier Grin and Bear songs. And it's like, is that what I want to be saying to myself all the time? Even if it's true, that's not the point. Like the point is no longer is it truthful. The point is it truthful and is it useful? Um, and yeah, and so yeah, that was what you just said about just saying I can handle anything. That's exactly that's the intention for sure.
That's great. um the song Bullying, I wanted to get into that a little bit, speaking of positive messages. How did that song come to fruition? Was that written for someone? Was it written towards yourself? Where did that stem from?
Yeah, so the start of that song was actually written in 2016. I was teaching high school, and there was just a minor bullying incident, and I realized at that time that I was not comfortable or confident enough with myself that I would be able to be vulnerable enough to talk to my kid, that my hypothetical future kid, if they were being bullied. I literally, like, I would shut down. You know what I'm saying? It would be like either out of embarrassment or out of personal shame or out of just not a willingness to be vulnerable. And I also knew that they would inevitably be bullied because I'm I was a very sensitive kid in grammar school, like would cry, just like
Yeah.
it was something where it was like people noticed very quickly that I was an easy target. So if I had a kid, I have a good feeling they would be an easy target. So the first part of that song was written then, which is I can't talk, I will not be able to talk about this. And then on that writer's retreat that I had mentioned in 2020, I found that demo. I listened to it up to about maybe like the 1 minute mark, and then it was just cut off. It was done. And I was like, oh, I actually can talk about it now. And I want to finish this song. So I finished the song now with how I feel now. And so it still was geared toward my potential future child, but it started to morph into past me as well, which was helpful. And current me. I mean, a lot of the lyrics in there, I still have to say to myself, like, I'm not on the outside of some conspiracy that everyone's been plotting against me, because I still tend to feel like everyone's just kind of fucking with me.
It's all
But
just a big game.
yeah.
No, it's a great message. And I know we were watching the music video, which came out great.
Thank you.
It looked really good. How was recording that? Did you come up with the idea? Did you work with a director? And how was it talking to the kid in the video? Was it awkward, or how did that go?
Yeah. So, okay. So this is good. I have two great shout outs now. Okay. Chris, Kunichuk, I think his last name is. He is insane. He's the person who directed the video, who filmed the video, edited it. He did everything. He is incredible. He does every video that all of my friends do. So he's just like the best. And then Ben was the actor. And so Chris had used him on a separate video that he had been making. And I had approached Chris with the just general idea that it would be me and a kid. It would be kind of like it's my kid, someone who kind of maybe looks like me, just doing normal everyday stuff. And so then the kid came over. He was amazing, nonstop talking to me, asking me questions. None of it was actually, a lot of those scenes were, I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And then he would start asking me questions about it. And then Chris would just be filming him asking me about what we were going to do. And then we would have the shot and it would be done. So like, it was so fast. It was like 3 hours of shooting or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was very good. It was not awkward at all. The kid was, I would have been awkward. I was actually really nervous to film, but Ben, the actor, he was like amazing. He was like, he just wanted to talk about stuff and was really interesting and fun and very smart. And it was awesome. So yeah, it was great.
Follow-up question to that, just because I'm curious, and I know it's like a very simple question, but like how surreal is it to like make a music video of like one of your own songs? I feel like that has to be like such a awesome experience, like growing up and making music and actually getting like, growing up and watching music videos on TV and then now getting to make one of your own and have made them on your own.
Yeah, seeing your real music video, I mean, you can't help but being so, I mean, I can't help but being so unbelievably self-conscious watching it. Like, look at me being, look at, it's so, like, I don't know, just, it's so, but yes, generally it's so exciting and so cool. And it's actually really cool to work with someone who you admire and to have them make, I was in it, but it doesn't look good because of me. Do you know what I mean? So like the fact that it looks good, I'm able to at least separate myself from that and be like, this looks amazing. I'm so happy with this. And it is definitely surreal to see um, a song that I wrote and a video that I kind of came up with the idea for come to fruition. It's very, very cool.
You mentioned on social media that you collaborated with so many people on this album, and I think it shows. As much as it's a Grin and Bear album, there's tons of different voices going on, different instruments. There's so much cool stuff to unpack with every listen. Who were some of the collaborators? was there anyone singing on songs other than you? Were they just band members that were also singing, or what? How did that work?
Yeah. So right now, really the core of what Grin and Bear is me and then primarily our drummer Chris. He plays drums on I believe 6 of the tracks from this album, maybe 7. Um, and everyone else at this point is just kind of in and out. The 2 original Grin and Bear members, Will and Gavin, are in also on songs on this as well, which is really amazing and fun. But because of the band is not necessarily together in general, um, everyone's just kind of in and out. But in terms of voices, my friend Matt Baker, his name is, he does solo music as well. His voice is all over the album in terms of harmonies. He does sing a solo part in Thinking of You. Gavin, the original bass player of Grin and Bear, I love his voice and I love his harmonies. His harmonies are all over as well. And he has a solo part in Thinking of You. My friend Nick Timoneer, who's in a band called Nameling. Well, it's a solo project who you should really check out. Actually, you will love Nameling. He sings on I Can Love You So Much. Connor from Sentient Moss sings on Bullying. So actually on that song Bullying, I referenced 2 Sentient Moss songs. I say you can be your own best friend just like Connor says. They have a song. It's not out yet. I thought it was going to be out. They wrote it like 3 years ago, or actually, it might be more than that. It's so good. It's called My Own Best Friend, and I'm so excited for that to come out. So Sentient Moss, and their bass player played bass on that song, as well. That's Nigel. All right, there's just so many people.
Yeah.
All right, I'm try to get like 1 or 2 more in. Okay,
What about Steve?
Steve Kelly from Man Dancing. Stephen Kelly from Man Dancing and we actually wrote the whole song of that together, like in the same room, writing it. And then we wrote that's Make Everyone Feel Bad, it's called. And we wrote letters back and forth to each other for like 3 or 4 months. And we used lyrics from letters that we wrote each other. So what I'm singing a lot of the time on that song is from letters that he wrote to me, like his words. And then what he's singing has been derived from things that I've written to him as well.
That's so cool.
And that was really fun. The song Grip, I have worked with Faye Fatum, who is Trust Fun Ozu, and she does electronic music and she sings. She plays real drums on it. She programmed all of the electronic drums and all the synths and everything as well. And then one more. Orion Lake. Her name is Christina. She sings backup vocals. Her voice is so beautiful on Thinking of You. There are definitely more, and I don't. If they come up later, I'm just gonna say them. But yes, I apologize. I just overloaded with information.
Is it so you just named all these people and said there's even more. So you said before you generally write the songs. So is it difficult at first to let other people in and have their influence added? How does that go?
It's so hard. Yeah, it's hard, but in the best way. My introduction into this was with the album Be Gentle. On that album we got so many people to work with it, and it was called Be Gentle. So I had to kept checking myself when I would get. It was the perfect thing, because while I was dealing with people, I was like, oh my god, I imagine the guy who writes the album Be Gentle is just a controlling asshole on these songs. And so it was almost part too good that I had that was already called that. So it was really difficult. But I don't invite people to play on the album that I don't love, either as a person or musically or both. And so whatever comes out of their brain, as long as it feels like they worked hard on it, which always feels that way, I love it. And sometimes we go back and forth and we do adjustments. Some of like when Will works on songs, he'll send me like 3 options, because he knows that if he sends me 3 options, I will love at least one of them, and maybe even several, and we'll have to do a combination. Nigel, who plays bass on one song, he'll come with a brilliant idea, and then he'll be like, at every part of it, okay, we can change this if you want. We could, like, he's just so attentive. Kyle Donovan from Halogens played bass on Put Me in the Back of the Line. He like wanted to write it in front of me because he wanted to like make sure that that like I felt it. So we demoed it together, and he added so much to that song. George from Halogens played drums on Put Me in the Back of the Line. We actually wrote the second half of that song together as well. And I gave him quite a bit of liberties on it too, because I just trust him. Yeah. So
Wow.
yes, it's very hard, but I trust everyone, and it makes it way more like, who cares if I get to control every part of a song? Like, it's just not the point. It's yeah.
Almost like you're a movie director in a way, like in addition to like being the writer, kind of.
Yeah. And at this point, people kind of know what to expect too. It's like now because this is kind of the second album that we've done this way. It's like someone's already seen the style you perform in, so they're kind of playing to that and matching it with their own strengths.
So what's the plan live with all these moving parts and different contributors?
We're still sorting that out. We only have one show. We're only going to do one show for the next like long while, where it's full band. That's going to be June 4th, the release show
The Saint?
in Asbury Park at
Yeah.
the Saint. Yeah. So that's going to be full band. I know for a fact that we have a couple drummers coming. I think we have 3 different drummers for that show. We might shift a couple bass players, but that's about it. I think we're going to try to keep it simple, but also have fun and invite the people who played on it to play if they want, because that just makes it more exciting, even if it's not as tight. But not that we're that. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be great. I cleared my schedule. I'm very excited for that weekend.
Good. That's exciting.
Sort of like allows you like kind of give the songs like even more new takes too, like as you perform them live, like, kind of like how songs kind of take on a life of their own once they start getting played in front of people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We change so much when we play them live, just for fun, just because it's exciting. Like for me, like already some of the parts on songs are so boring, because not boring isn't the word, but just so I've just heard them so many times that like there are a lot of things that people like never hear us play the normal version of some songs live, because by the time we're playing it live for the first time, it's like 3 years old. And so we're just like, we want to mess around with it and play fun parts and just make it as exciting as we can.
So are a lot of the guitar parts you, or is that other members too? Because there's some great riffs, and like the instrumentals on this album are equally as good to me as the lyrics, and I think that's why it comes together so well.
Thank you for saying that. I don't ever feel that way. I feel like I'm just trying to make passable music that I can sing over. And not even because my voice is good either. Like I'm just trying to make my voice passable as well, so that I can get the lyrics. Like it's because it's just always been about the lyrics for me. But thank you so much for saying that. It's mostly me on guitar. There's one insane riff that you can obviously tell is not me. It's someone who's very good at guitar. In I Can Love You So Much. That's Connor from
Yeah.
Sentient Moss. He's shreds.
Yeah.
If you want to hear him shred, listen to the band Sentient Moss. They are insane. There is the other guitar in the song Porch. All of the lead guitar parts are Will, who wrote the lead guitar to Cross-Legged. That's why we have the Cross-Legged riff play in Porch as well. And I believe, and I may be wrong. Oh, sorry. There's one more. Matt Baker plays a riff at the end of Thinking of You. And I believe that's it for the guitars. The basses were like a lot of bass players, but for guitars, it's almost always me, because that is, when you're the one writing the songs, that is the easiest thing to like you do. And then you can open up the floor in the other departments and then adjust the guitars around those things as well. So that's been really helpful. Yeah.
Even the drums are great on this too. Like I was just talking to Nick before this call, like how great the drums towards the end of Grip were. Like it just like made me spin my head, like how great like that outro was once they kick in. That's
Faye. She is. Do you ever listen to the band Thank You Scientist?
No, but I will now.
Okay. She used to play drums in them. She plays drums in Sentient Moss as well. And then she has Trust Fund Ozu. She is top notch, like every drummer on this album is like insane. I play drums on one song, so
Cool.
except me, every drummer on this album is insane. So sick. So
I mean,
I'm so humble and lucky to have those friends.
gonna say there weren't any drums I didn't like, so I think you're selling yourself a little short there.
You didn't notice. That's good.
You mentioned the song "Grip," which was such a cool like step outside the box of the album, but it still feels like cohesive with the album. Did you want to make a song that was a little different, or did that kind of just happen?
I more so, it wasn't that I purposely wanted to make the song different. It was that I wanted to do a song with Faye because she's my friend and I think she's insanely talented and I love her music. And so then eventually it came to the point where we were talking one day about the song and I was like, can we just make it a 50-50 Grin and Bear and an electronic song? And she was like, yes, let's do that. And so then she kind of took the reins. I had sent her a whole demo with as if it were a full band song and was just like, here are the parts you can delete, do whatever you want with, whatever. And then here are the parts where I want you to play real drums on. And we met a couple times, worked it out, and it just came out. I teared up the first time she sent me that, like some of that. So it's so cool.
It's awesome. Like when you come in at the end, like the contrast from the other half of the song, it just hits so hard. I love it. Are like the augmented vocals on that, like at the beginning and then midway? I know it's like really deep at the beginning and then kind of higher. Is that you? Is that Faye? What's going on there?
Some of them are me, some of them are Faye. And then there are some where it's both of us. And when it's both of us, it's usually I'm the low one and she's the like boosted, like really high, like high pitched one. Yeah. And then the part at the end, like that, that's actually her when that was part of like the demo, and then we kept it in the song. Where like everything drops out and she just kind of like sings for a bit, that's like one of my favorite parts in the album. And it was an accident, which almost is always the case.
Naturally goes.
As it naturally goes.
The last riff on the album kind of completes the circle of the intro song.
Yes. Okay. I was hoping that you of all people would notice that. I hope people notice that, but if they don't, that's okay.
Yeah, it's just very nice. Everything cuts out and it comes back, and yeah, obviously meant to do that. But,
Yeah,
but
no. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy that you noticed that. There's that fear where like you put so much thought and effort into something and you're like, there's a good chance no one notices this, or like, and it's okay. I mean, it doesn't matter. I know I like it. But it's funny because sometimes you do things as like a little like fun for the listener. You want to make it like fun and you hope that someone has the fun with it. So you've already, the album's not even out yet and I've already succeeded. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, I love it. Like you mentioned before, doing callbacks to other songs. It's very rewarding as a listener when you pick up on things because you feel like you're getting a little extra perk, which is always nice.
A wink.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I hope that happens. The more people, there are a lot of like repeating things, parallel things on this one, and then a few different references back to Be Gentle, which is cool. Yeah, it is fun.
No, so this is kind of like a little bit of a random question, but with the release coming out soon, I just wanted to like I never asked an artist this question before, but I figured you'd be a great person to ask. Like, what are your thoughts on like physical media versus like streaming for music? Like, do you prefer one over the other? Are you okay with both? Can you not stand streaming? Like, what are your thoughts?
That's a really good question. I because of the level at which my music has been out, I'm the type of artist that benefits greatly from streaming, because we don't have a large following like we have, the very local following that is my friends basically, and people who, so the exposure that comes with being on streaming services has been extremely helpful for us. However, I do think that it's a artist to artist question. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of artists don't benefit. I mean, I'd say I'd say in some cases, and we found this to be true, Spotify benefits from some artists. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's the case. I feel the opposite. I feel like me specifically, we benefit from being on these streaming services because it's not for money for us. It's for exposure. And but I see both sides really clearly, and I understand how even a small shift in our level of in a band's level, not ours, in a band's level of popularity could shift that relationship and make it one-sided, if that
Right.
makes sense. Yes. So that's my current feeling. Like, for example, we are not going to, just financially, we're not going to print this one physical. We're not going physical at all on this one.
That
We
answers
had
my
vinyl
vinyl
on.
question.
We had vinyl on for Be Gentle, and we will have those. We still have some copies of those that we'll be selling. But mainly due to the fact that we were unable to tour or play any shows about Be Gentle, or play any shows on the release of Be Gentle, we didn't really get rid of as many vinyl as quickly as we were hoping to. And so that money was going to just go back to the vinyl for this one. And we were like, all right, we're just going to hold off for now.
There's like a vinyl
maybe it'll come back.
shortage.
We'll see. That's also
Right?
true. Yeah, we
Yeah.
also, and we, right when I got the masters back, we just decided dates for the album release because we're not really constricted in any way. And there's no shot we could have had vinyl ready for the release show. So it's also kind of part of it.
If it does get pressed, though, let us know, because like this is like what would be a perfect vinyl release. Like this is when you want to put your headphones on and let it spin and flip back over and put it back on again.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, I hope so. I hope we do. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be forever. It was more so for the next few months. We're gonna hold off. Yeah.
In the vein of streaming, me and Brett were talking about it last week. Brett likes to not really listen to singles until the whole album is out.
I heard this.
And I think there's, obviously pros and cons to both, but as an artist yourself, how do you go about, one, choosing the singles, and then two, choosing how many? Like when is enough going to be enough, to use your own words?
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't ever want to do singles. I don't write
Wow.
singles. I don't write with the intention of a song being more catchy or poppier. I have no attachment to that at all. I just do it purely for the fact that like maybe someone who wouldn't listen to it if the whole album dropped would be like, oh, there's one song out, let me see it. And if it's good and they like it, then they'll be excited and come to the album. I would say that's the most classic response of all time. However, that is the truth. It's purely for promo. I have no I never feel like I benefit or the listener benefits from my music specifically being released before the pre-album. Especially because the last two albums are such albums. Like they're so intertwined.
Mhm.
Songs rely on each other. Songs reference each other. Like it's one thing. And so yeah, I don't know. That's a difficult question. I think some bands write singles though. Like,
Yeah,
and
think the
not
label
even
makes
necessarily
them.
on purpose. Yeah, well,
Probably,
that's
yeah.
true. And then some not even on purpose. Like sometimes you just listen to a song and you're like, oh, it's so catchy. But I don't feel that I do that. Like I never feel like I have a standout song. And that doesn't mean they're all bad. I just feel like they're all on a similar level in terms of likability and anything. I don't specifically try to write a chorus or anything. If we have a chorus, that just kind of happened. And so yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's definitely band to band though, for sure. Again, that's terrible. I'm just gonna default
Yeah.
to that every time.
No, I mean, it's the truth though. It definitely makes sense. You reminded me of another question I had talking about song structure. Your songs are so interesting to me because they don't necessarily fit the verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus mold, but those parts are there. But I don't find myself, like, I feel as if there will just be a whole new part to the song come in towards the end that I wasn't expecting, or like, is it difficult to write songs that way, or is it easier almost because you're not relying on a pattern?
It's easier. For me, it's so much easier. It's just like this part ends and what happens? Like what do I feel? And when I started actually writing as I was demoing, which I had started doing for Be Gentle. So I'm keep referring to that because these two are so intertwined to me. Um, when I started writing, demoing and writing at the same time, I would write a part a lot of times, and then I would just have that part playing and have it recording, and then just have the guitar and the microphone in front of me, and then just play the next part, whatever felt right. And so that would be, sometimes the next part could be really new and really exciting, or sometimes it would just go right back to the part before it. It would completely defer on how I felt moving forward. Just what feels cool here, what feels exciting here, what was going to keep me listening. It's not even about writing something at this point. It's not even to me about writing something like what makes sense here at all. It's just about like what is exciting, what feels cool to me. Even if it's jarring to even me or the listener, it's just what's exciting, what feels cool. Because when I listen to an album and I get surprised by a part, I smile every time. And I'm not necessarily trying to manufacture that in it, but I think I smile because that's how I feel too. Like when I'm writing, I just want to do what feels cool next, yeah. Or where the lyrics are going sometimes too. Sometimes they take it into a place.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I agree. I love the randomness, the spontaneity. I shouldn't say random because that almost makes it sound like I'm not giving it credit. Yeah. Yeah.
No, seemingly random.
Seemingly
Yeah,
random. There it is. Oh, it's great. It's great. So you have The Saint coming up in June, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Nice, nice. And then the album's out April 15th. That's Friday.
Okay.
Friday,
Tomorrow,
yeah.
if people are listening the day this comes out. I hope they are.
Oh, nice. This is gonna come out this Thursday?
Yeah,
Oh, this is perfect. Okay, great.
yeah,
Yes,
calculated.
so tomorrow.
We planned it perfectly.
Brett, did you have anything else? I think I asked all my questions.
I think I asked all of mine too, but are there any? I know you said like you're gonna hold off on touring for a little bit, but is that for, you'd say through? You said that was for the rest of the year, or is there a chance like something could happen in the fall, or maybe like December, maybe early January of 2023?
Yeah, it would be later.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to be around for 4 months right after the release show. So it'll be after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much again, Nick, for always being supportive and kind and generous with your time.
You
I
too.
really appreciate that. And yeah,
Thank you.
and Brett, thank you for
It's nice meeting you, and keep making awesome music. Like being like Nick got me hooked immediately. So
thank you. That is very kind. And I hope you keep doing this. I've been listening as well, which is exciting. It's funny when you referenced that you had been talking about something, and I was like, yeah, I know. I was there. Well, I wasn't there, but
an ongoing debate between the two of us.
the single debate. Oh, that actually brought up something. I couldn't believe that you. Sorry, this is my last thing. I couldn't believe that you had said this. Nick had said something. So you were talking about how, sometimes a single is just so incongruous with. I don't know if I pronounced that word correctly, with the album. It's just like it's just a single. And I always have one that comes to my mind that I think the band didn't really compromise anything to write this. It kind of just feels like a really good song from this band, and it came on, and then Nick said it, and then as it's flowed on, as he was like, I feel like it's close but like not, and I was like, that's mine. For some reason I always think like, if I wrote a Float On, I would be happy, because it was so funny that you had specifically brought up that song, because that, to me, that is like the ultimate fruition of like, how do you, it's so Modest Mouse. Yes, it is so catchy, and they are so out there, so it is kind of weird to hear that, but also it is a weird song. Like, it's weird that it is so catchy and good, and so that was so funny to listen. So I just want to express my fandom back.
Like imagine buying that album, like just knowing just Flow Down, and then you hear a song like Dance Hall, like you must be just like so thrown off by Modest Mouse.
Bukowski on that album too. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one.
They're great. They're touring. I don't know if we missed it. There's too many tours. I'm gonna go broke.
Oh, the
I know.
weekend before our show. I don't think it's sold out yet. The weekend before our show, they're playing the summer
That was
stage
it.
at the
Yep.
Stamponi.
Oh, let's
John's
go.
house. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going. So you gotta let me know.
All right, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Brian, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you
And
so
I
much
hope
for having me.
everyone listens to Naturally Goes because it rocks. It's a great album.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is very nice. This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Brian. That was awesome. That was so much fun. The album's out tomorrow, Friday. Definitely.
Listen to it.
Yeah, Spotify's got you. So just go there, or I don't know where
Apple
else you can
Music,
listen to
wherever you-
music.
Will it be on SoundCloud still?
Maybe he'll just unlock it. Yeah, we had that early. No big deal. No big deal, just perks of the pod. Anyway. So we want to get into a very special album that we tried to talk about a week or two ago, and then we just went off on a tangent and never actually talked about the album. But tell all your friends, Taking Back Sunday's debut album is turning 20. It might have turned 20 already, but they're doing
It did.
a whole special release. They're gonna have some B-sides, some demos, put it out on vinyl. It's gonna be great. I'm probably gonna buy it. Spend so much money on shit. But no, it'd be a great record to own because as we're gonna get into, it's a phenomenal record. Every single song is so good. I've listened to this record all day because I knew we were going to be talking about it, and it still holds up. It is just awesome. Listening to it at my work computer was so difficult because it's an album you just want to scream at the top of your lungs. So then I played it on my drive home at lunch, and I sang so loud, people at the red lights were probably like, "What is this weirdo doing?" I love this album. John Nolan's backing vocals with Adam, the call and response. Like, did they invent call and response? As far as I'm concerned, they did.
In my books, they did.
Yeah. No one was doing
It
call
might
and
have been
response.
Blink, but we'll just ignore that. Or it's probably way before Blink too.
Oh, true. This album was 2002, March 26th. So yeah, Blink was already had like Pathetic, but this kind of call and response is
It's
Blink
different.
it just hits different. It's they're singing over each other, but it's like, I love when bands sing over each other, but then the end of both sentences line up again. I just think it's like the coolest thing ever. And Taking Back Sunday is so good at that. This album just, it starts off, it just comes in hot, and every line is memorable. You Know How I Do starts off with so sick of being tired.
Those
So
opening
tired of
guitar
being sick.
riffs get me every time. The drums kick in.
It's so good. It's so good. So obviously desperate, so desperately obvious. I love it. I could go through every single song. I kind of want to, but we'll do an overview. So we could just
The
talk.
listeners won't stand for.
No, they want to hate us so bad. Can you believe Cute Without the E and Your Soul Last Summer are on the same album, on a band's debut album? These are iconic songs. We talked about it with Mike H last week from Grand Theft Audio. Like, you see a cover band, you might be getting both of those. You're 100% getting one of them. To just start off like that. They were 22. They were 22 years old when they wrote this album. It blows my mind, and it's so good. I just love it. Brett, what's your favorite song on this album?
I don't know that I could pick one. Like, I feel like it depends on like the time I'm listening to it, because like I know we've said this about like several albums so far, but this is literally one you put on track one and it plays until the final notes of Headspace. It's that good. You can't have this album without any of the tracks. You need them all. They all have incredibly catchy choruses. And the thing that blew me away was like, it sounds so good 20 years later. Like, I have no doubt there's like, hopefully someone's finding this record and thinks the same thing. And it's not just like the powerful drug of nostalgia that makes me think it
No,
sounds this incredible 20 years later?
no, I mean, nostalgia doesn't hurt, but this album, I think you could play this for, uh, I don't know, 16 to young 20-year-old who never heard of Taking Back Sunday, and it would resonate. Like, or I'd be shocked if it didn't. But yeah, it holds up. Nostalgia's nice, but this is just a good album. When I was listening to every song, I was trying to think which one was my favorite, and the amount of times I went, this one is definitely my favorite, and then the next song I would say, wait, no, it's this one.
That
like
was pretty much me.
like I love Ghost Man on Third. It's so good. The screams in it are just so like raw, and just like, it's not even like good screams, but that's what makes them good, because you can just like feel the emotion coming through, and they're going back and forth. But then Timberwolves at New Jersey follows it up, which is might be my favorite song. Like,
That was my favorite
it's
for a long time.
it's uh um I just love it. I love singing along to this album. I try to sing both vocal parts because I can't decide which part I'd rather sing.
I think that's everyone who listens to this album.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm still learning some of the background vocals, because sometimes it's one of those ones where when you're just like yelling the words in your car, it almost doesn't even matter what you're saying, because it's just like the
It
feeling
works.
is there. Yeah. But
I feel like I find like new favorite parts of like songs too. Like I remember like for some reason the longest time I couldn't remember like the final notes of like Headspace,
Head Club,
like the scream, or did I say it wrong?
Head Club.
Head Club. I don't know why I
Yeah.
keep calling it Headspace.
Because you can't remember
Sorry,
the final
no,
words of it.
that's why. Yeah.
What are the oh,
Is
that's
that
when
don't call my name? Don't call my name at your window. I'm leaving.
yeah, I'm
Yep.
sick of writing every song about you.
Yep. There we
Oh
go.
God. Genius.
And then it goes right into the screaming part. Yep.
Yeah. Uh
Is
and there's
Headspace a different song? Why did I call it Headspace?
I think that's an app for meditation,
That
which
is the
might be
meditation app. I don't have it, but I don't know why.
this
Not
album
that there's
is
anything wrong with that.
it's therapeutic. I don't know if I'd say it's meditative. You're definitely not putting this album on to meditate, but you're definitely gonna work out some issues
It's a
screaming to this album
release.
for 33 minutes and 54 seconds. Then you have the There's No I in Team with the brand new beef, where he's singing the lyrics to 70 by 7. It's like their response to that one, because they were friends and someone slept with someone's sister. They're all from
We still don't know the story.
is it Long Island? I think they're all from.
Long Island, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, there was like crossover. They toured together, and then there was this big falling out, and they were just such two dramatic, emotional dudes that obviously two songs had to come of it. But yeah,
Broken
when
down
he
in bars and bathrooms.
man.
It's such a good chorus.
And then the breakdown when they're singing the brand, he's yelling the lyrics to the brand new song. He's like, "Is this what you call tact? You're as subtle as a brick," and all that. He's like screaming that as he's like, "Have another drink and drive yourself home." Wait, that's still the brand new lyrics. That's what he's screaming. And then I forget what they're yelling over it. I have to like listen. But it's just so good when you can get into like little extra drama and stuff, and like uh
It adds to the mythology of it.
yeah, because that one also starts off with "I've got a $20 bill," which is mixtape by Brand New. Like, he's throwing shots. I
It's
love it.
it's very clever.
I love it. And say what you want about the bands, but one of them is still playing and one of them isn't. So we'll leave it at that.
That brings up a question I wanted to save for the podcast for you that I had.
All right. Lay it on me.
This thought popped in my head, like like when you have your cup of coffee in the morning and you hit that like that peak caffeine rush. That's when this thought came to me.
Might be my
But
favorite part of the day.
yeah. So do you think Taking Back Sunday gets the same treatment as Weezer, like where people like are so obsessed with their first two records that the rest kind of doesn't get its due? Or do you think that's just a Weezer thing and it's not like people still like other Taking Back Sunday albums?
Well, personally, I think that their earlier work is their best. And I don't mean to say that as like a pretentious thing, because their earlier work is what's good, blah blah blah. But I just think that's like a fact. So maybe it's pretentious. I don't really care. Their first two albums up to like New Again is what I really liked. And then they kind of, in my mind, they just started doing a lot of the same. Like I'd listen to the album and I'd enjoy it, but it, you know, it could be a little bit of a Weezer syndrome if you want to call it that, because they're not going to top their early albums. I mean, I'd love for them to do it, and I don't think that means they shouldn't make music at all. But if I'm going to listen to a Taking Back Sunday album on repeat, I don't think it's going to be a new one, because I can get everything I want from their earlier ones. Like if I want the like raw emo angsty yelling, you have Tell All Your Friends and Where You Want to Be. And then if you want like the poppier stuff, like Louder Now is like standalone, like even without their first two albums, Louder Now is amazing. Like What's It Feel Like to Be a Ghost, Liar, Make Damn Sure, Spin, My Blue Heaven, like 2020 Surgery. It's a great album. Yeah, so to answer your question, I think the success of their early stuff might have hurt them a little bit, but I also think it's keeping them alive and it's keeping people interested. So I think it's a little bit of give and take.
It's a great answer.
If I'm seeing Taking Back Sunday live, I'm patiently waiting for anything off the first four albums, and then anything else, I'm standing there kind of bothering my head listening, but the love's not there. Yeah.
There are some good songs from those later albums, like when Nolan came back to the band, like the self-titled album. Like it was like
yeah, with like
Best Places to Be a Mom was a great song. El Paso.
oh yeah, I forgot about this album.
This Is All Now.
Huh. Yeah, this was a pretty good album. I forgot it existed. Money. Yeah, this was like, I think we were like sophomore
Call Me in the Morning.
summer of college. I remember I would deliver for my uncle's deli, and this album would get a lot of play because it must have just came out.
It was like the reunion album too, in a way.
Oh yeah, because that's when, yeah, like you said, the whole band reformed, because John Nolan was on, I think he was just on the first one and he left, and then Fred joined, and Fred's vocals are awesome. Like it's you could make a real argument for either one who was the best, or who's
Fred
like,
got it bad.
oh my god, when does that album turn 20? Probably not far off.
2 more years, I think. 2004,
Well,
I think.
yeah, I just pulled it up. Yeah, 2004. So I hope they do the same thing. I don't own either of those on vinyl, so I own Happiness Is, which I went to a record signing that they did. I don't even like that album that much, to be honest, but
Yeah, it was like okay from what I remember, but like you said, like nothing hits like these first 4. Although I feel like I don't remember New Again that much.
New Again I listened to a decent amount. It had has this one song. You know,
The
some
sync
it's
song,
called
did it sink in?
Lonely, Sink Into Me, New Again. Summer
Sink into me
Man.
is the one.
Summer Man has a great line where it's like, the summer is over and I guess I'll be seeing you around, or something like that. I like singing that one.
I'll be
Swing,
listening to this one tomorrow, probably.
Cut Me Up Jenny. This is a good album. Listen to it. That was like, to me, the last like real, I don't want real, it doesn't make sense, but the last, like when I think of Taking Back Sunday, I think of up to that album. And then after that, they kind of entered this second phase of trying to be a little more mature with their music, and I didn't like it as much. But
And Fred's on New Again, or was this when they didn't have like any secondary singer?
I'm pretty sure Fred's on New Again, but I'd have to fact check it. I'm honestly not sure. I think he is, but
I remember when Fred played with Say Anything, we're like, wait, is that Fred on stage?
yeah. Yeah. I got to talk to him after that. I like saw him outside. I asked him, what song was it? Say Anything has one song that's like really hard to play. I'm like, how was it learning that one? And he told me he tuned his guitar to like this weird tuning to make it easier. I wish I could remember the song, but yeah, that was fun. He has a band, The Color Fred. I think they actually still do stuff, but they really just had like one hit, I think.
And then he started playing with Say Anything or touring with them at least.
Yeah, I think he just toured with them for a little. I don't know what he's up to now. Let's reach out. Let's get him on the pod.
Yeah. And Say Anything's another good topic for another day.
Oh
For a
yeah.
certain segment we haven't debuted yet.
Yes. But they're still a band, right? I don't remember
I don't
actually.
think so.
Oh, they did
Like, he
that
does his own
acoustic
stuff
album
now.
and then yeah, because I haven't toured in a while. I guess they did call it quits, but I don't think they're done. Maybe making new music, but I think they'll definitely tour again. But who knows? What do I know? I just hope so because they're a great band.
I wonder if they're still good because I feel like we haven't seen them in like 8 years now since that
Yeah,
Front Bottoms tour.
yeah, and that was a big case of the younger guys were way faster and cooler. And then granted it's a hometown show for Front Bottoms and they have a huge following, but it was almost like when Say Anything came on, the crowd was almost disappointed. And everyone still knew all the Say Anything songs and had fun. Don't get me wrong, but you
Everyone
could
was
tell
tired.
like, yeah, they wanted Brian to come back out. And then he came back out for that song that he's featured on. And it was like the energy level just got cranked up. And then he left and it just went back
Right
down.
back down.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the last time we saw them. He did that acoustic tour, but I don't think I went on it.
No, I didn't either.
We
I
have a
moved from Taking
voicemail.
Back Sunday to Say Anything.
Yeah, that was what's that game that people
All
play?
thanks to Fred.
Um the
Kevin Bacon game.
yeah. We should do that with artists. We just have to pick. We could just do it with Travis Barker. That'd be so easy.
Like 2 turns.
Yeah, just pick like an artist and then try and like see who can get to him. Just do Tom. Have 7 degrees of Tom DeLonge.
Aliens.
Say anything. Go. Well, they toured with Fred, who toured with Taking Back Sunday, who
Ooh,
toured with
that's a good way to
blank.
do it.
Boom.
The toured with game.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun. So we have a great voicemail this week.
I'm
And
excited for it.
yeah, I'm gonna fire it up because I wanna talk about it. It got me thinking. And well, let me play it and then we can talk. So here we go. It's our friend Blake.
Hey, what's going on, Nick and Brett? Big fan of the podcast here. You guys are doing great.
Thanks,
I
Blake.
got a 2-part question for you. So, as someone who's into a bit more of the heavier, maybe metalcore scene, I'm wondering what's the heaviest band that you guys are into? And related to that, who do you think has the best screams out there? All right, looking forward to the answer. Keep on killing it.
Thanks, Blake. Oh, I love
Good
it.
old Blake.
Blake coming through with a 2-parter, getting his money's worth. It's a free podcast, by the way, just so everyone's aware. Feel free to Venmo us.
No Patreon.
This Zoom subscription is just eating away at the wallet. Heaviest band that you're into, favorite screamer. I have a lot of thoughts.
I have a couple screamers written down.
Yeah. I want to start with just one of my favorite screamers. So it's a tough question because there's screamers and then there's like people who sing scream the whole time. It might not necessarily be a scream. So there's a whole like spectrum of screaming and yelling, and I like it all. But there's one album in particular, His Last Walk. It's Bless the Fall's first album, and it was one of the first like screamo albums I ever heard, and I love this album. I still listen to it very regularly, and the vocalist is Craig Mabbitt, and he was only on that first album, and it was so heavy and it was awesome, and it just kind of lives as its own thing because the band got someone else after, and that was that. Or is it? So I went to Wikipedia because I wanted to do some digging, and I realized Craig Mabbitt is in Escape the Fate now, which I did not know. But he
I thought he was in
doesn't.
a different band now.
He's in Escape the Fate, but
He's like Dead Rabbit or something.
Brett, please let me
Sorry.
say my story.
I'm jumping the gun. I'm sorry.
So I'm listening to Escape the Fate and I'm fast forwarding to like breakdowns, trying to capture that scream from that first Bless the Fall album. And it's just not quite there. Escape the Fate's a little more like hair metal or just like kind of that other side. Not that they don't get heavy at times, but it's not that. So I then came across this band, spoiler alert, the Dead Rabbits. And
Sorry.
no, it's okay. And this is why I absolutely love doing this podcast, because it set me on this whole thing. And the Dead Rabbits, oh boy, he's screaming in every song and it's awesome. And I've been listening to them nonstop all week since discovering this. So Craig
Adding them
Mabbitt,
to my list now.
yeah, it's awesome. Craig Mabbitt's
And
got
it's
to be
full on screams.
yeah, it's heavy and it's great. And I didn't know it existed until this week. So thank you, Blake, for sending me on that rabbit hole. Down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
Pun intended.
Oh, how did I miss that?
The Dead Rabbit Hole.
Thank you, Brett. So yeah, so I'll say one of my favorite screamers, because there's more to it, but we can discuss. But one of my favorite screamers is definitely Craig Mabbitt and the Dead Rabbits. All right, Brett, I'll answer heaviest next, and we'll get around to all of it. But you can take it from here, or I'll just keep talking.
So we're doing favorites first.
How about let's answer his first question. What's the heaviest band you listen to that you're a fan of? So I'm sure there's a bunch, but what are some of your, yeah.
It's definitely gotten a little lighter as the years have gone on. Like if you asked me like my freshman year of college, I would have named like 50 like metalcore bands I was into. And I kind of shifted away from some, but some I still go back to all the time. Like right now I still enjoy August Burns Red. I think Jake Lurz screams like no other. So I think they're probably the heaviest I go right now, along with Parkway Drive. Like I still go to Parkway Drive and also Early Bring Me the Horizon. Like if you listen to them now, you'll never guess what they sounded like when they first started out. Or like you couldn't understand a word he was saying. It was just all screaming.
Oh,
and it
wow.
was extremely heavy. Like now, obviously, like he sings now, which like he didn't used to do. But I think that just shows like you can't scream like that forever.
Yeah.
You can ask Burt McCracken to use that because he can't even scream anymore from screaming so much. Like his guitarist has to do it for him now, but
Yeah.
not bashing him. It's just that's what happens when you don't stop.
I think that same thing happened with Bullet for My Valentine, which is definitely one of my other favorite screamers.
Yeah, he doesn't scream anymore either. Right?
I think his guitarist or his bass player does it now. Or I don't know if he's back. I know he had issues, but they have a song out right now called like Omen or Ominous or something like that, and it's super heavy.
He had some really cool screaming back in those early Bullet albums.
Yeah, like Her Voice Resides and Beginning of Tears Don't Fall, just that great like let's go. Yep. Yeah. He's definitely one of my favorite screamers as well. I don't listen to a ton of August Burns Red. I just know they have that awesome Carol of the Bells version during Christmas time.
They have some pretty heavy, good Christmas music. There's no singing. It's just them. They're like, because each one of them are like excellent musicians. Like, that's why I still listen to them. Like, everyone's great at what they do. The drummer is incredible. I'm like blanking on his name. The two guitarists are incredible. Even the bass player has like some heavy riffs and is awesome too. So I think that's why I've never like really put them on the back burner. They've all like every time they put a new album out, I'm listening to it the day of.
Yeah, I gotta dig into them. Oh, true. True. That's where I went for a lot of this. I pulled up one of the gym playlists. I'm like, what heavy bands do I listen to? I think Wage War might be one of the heaviest bands I listen to right now. Um, very heavy.
Hey man, how did I
on,
forget them?
Yeah. Are they on Victory Records? No. Maybe. I forget what the heavy record label is. I'm drawing.
Wasn't that
Maybe it's
you, me, and
Victory.
Blake found them by accident?
Yeah, when we were at Warp Tour, we stumbled upon their set and they blew me away. I was like, oh, this is what a Day to Remember could have done if they decided not to kind of go a little poppy, which I'm not knocking Day to Remember. That's their sound. But it's like if a Day to Remember just decided we're gonna just cut out all the singing, I feel like that's what Wage War is. And
There's some singing though. Their guitarist has that really good clean vocals. Has those
Yeah.
really good clean vocals.
Fearless Records, not Victory. I was thinking of Taking Back Sunday still. Fearless Records. But
And a Day to Remember.
yes.
Well, old Day to Remember.
Yeah.
They sued Victory. So
Did they sue Victory? I didn't know that.
I suppose like the owner is an asshole and like takes all the royalties from the bands. So that's why everyone leaves. It
Dang.
happened with like Silverstein too, I think.
Speaking of heavy bands, they're another one. I think
They're
they're
my
like,
next. Yeah.
I was gonna say they're sneaky heavy, but I don't know that they are. Maybe just because their early albums weren't as much, but they're just heavy. I don't know. They're heavy. Like Dead Reflections and um what is it? Retrograde. Oh my god.
Yep. He can still scream when he wants to.
Oh yeah. I am having serious FOMO not seeing them on this tour with Beartooth right now. Another great heavy
Beartooth
band.
is another good one.
But none of their stops. They were in like Albany and Trenton. Like just play Webster or Starland. But I don't know. They just did, so it might be like zoning things. I don't know how it works, but yeah, I'm sad I'm not seeing them on this tour, but they'll come back.
They'll be back around. They have the album coming out in May, so they have to do a headlining tour, I would think.
Wow, they churn out music, those guys, and it's all good.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
don't miss.
I'd say they're my favorite heavy band I listen to. Like I said, Wage War, who's definitely the heaviest that I listen to, but I don't listen to them as religiously as I listen to Silverstein. So I think they
Yeah,
probably
they're up
get
there
it.
for me too.
Yeah, honorable mention to A Day to Remember, but they
When they want to be heavy.
yeah, and when they want to be heavy, they're heavy. So that's what makes them so good. When they're heavy, it really means something because you can get a nice gentle singing pop punk song and then you can go into like an end of the world breakdown within 5 minutes. They're a
They
special
love
band.
their breakdowns,
Yeah.
but they're all good.
Yes. Favorite screamers. So I think me and you might have the same answer. Do
I
you
don't
have
know.
someone in mind? I think favorite screamer can only be one person.
Yeah. I don't think you have mine.
I was gonna say Chester.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't have him on mine.
It's gotta be Chester. He's gotta be
Yeah.
maybe the first person I ever heard scream.
That's
Like-
bad. How did I not think of him? Could I guess because I mean, I know Linkin Park's not really a band anymore, and I haven't really listened to them in a while, I guess. But now, yeah, there's no doubt it's Chester.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm just thinking of their Live in Texas album. Because that's when I mean Linkin Park's heavy enough, but when you listen to the Live in Texas, you really get it.
Like the bridge and Faint.
Oh my god.
All of Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. I'm trying to pick one song right now. Like, no, they're all so good. Which one does he yell shut up when I'm talking to you? One step closer, maybe?
One Step Closer,
Crawling.
yeah.
Yeah,
Place for My Head is a good one.
his range is unreal. The way he
And he
goes
can
from those
sing
like those gentle singing vocals to just letting loose with the screams. Yeah.
I'm
R.I.P.
so bummed I'll never get to see him live either.
Dude, I saw them at Bamboozle one year back when it was the Giant Stadium ones, and it was right when Lincoln Park got back together, and we got to the stage real early. We were like 15, 20 rows back. It was unreal. And then we were like, I don't know, 14, 15, 13. Like we were young. And my friend's parents got there and they called him and they're like, we got to go because we want to beat the traffic. And I'm halfway through Lincoln Park set, like, I don't know, 30, 40 yards from the stage. And my friend's like dragging me out and I'm throwing a temper tantrum. Literally, I cried in the car. I was so angry. And I still think I have a right to be, because
You do.
we spent the whole day, the whole weekend at this festival. You see your favorite band who you thought was broken up come back together in like their prime. And you're going to make me leave early so I don't sit in traffic. I'm listening to In the End with my back turned to the stage, walking to the parking lot.
Oh my god.
Oh, I should have just stayed. I mean, like, I'll get home some other way. But
That's like what happened to me on like the last Warp Tour. Like I got sucked into a ride home before Blink went on, so I missed them play like all of Enema in full. I mean, granted, it wasn't like real Blink, but like it was the final Warp
Nah, it
Tour, and
was-
that's how they were closing it. And I missed every second of their set. And then like when I saw like Mark got sick, I'm like, so help me God. I texted my friend, I'm like, if he dies, I will never forgive you.
yeah, that's rough. I think we stayed till the end. Did they open with Enema or close with Enema? Oh, I guess
I think they opened
I
with
guess
it,
you don't
and then they did like
know.
a greatest hits. I looked it up because I was like bitter.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Same
should
thing to
do
beat traffic.
we
No,
should do our
there's no
biggest
traffic leaving Atlantic City, but
yeah, right? Or no more or less traffic than you're gonna hit just trying to get out of a
No.
parking garage for 50 minutes. We should do our biggest concert regrets one episode, which will
I think
be
we just
heartbreaking.
name them though.
But we should get drunk while we do it, because I have some that keep me up at night if I
And then
really let
really
myself think
rant.
about it. But yeah, this is a happy episode, even though we're talking about Chester right now. But
I'm
yeah.
mad at myself for not putting him on here. Damn.
I was so sure you'd have them, but we were thinking, like, because I started just like in the vein of like that metalcore scene, which I guess Linkin Park could be in new metal. What, they're almost their own thing, but yeah, they're not like the traditional heavy band that you think of currently.
Right.
But yeah, straight up screams, Chester all the way. Honorable mention, The Bullet for My Valentine, Silverstein, stuff like that. I almost thought like Taking Back Sunday, just because I was listening to them all day. Like, they do scream.
They
It's
do.
a different kind of scream, but it really got me thinking the direction of screams, the screaming spectrum. I'll make a chart. I'll put it on Instagram.
That'd be a great infographic to have.
Yeah, the whiny screams to like the growling, like
Yep.
Opeth, like metal, like real metal screams. Then you put Slipknot somewhere kind of like on the
He's
right.
somewhere in the
and-
middle.
Yeah. Because I don't know that, I mean, I might be way out of line here, but I don't know that he screams, or if it's more just like that, like growling, chugging vocals. I don't listen to enough Slipknot.
Like on the early albums, he screamed
Scream more.
a little less now, but
He's another one who can do the singing and heavy sides very well.
yeah, Corey Taylor's the man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my honorable mention is, I know it's not metalcore, but it's got to be Dave Grohl.
Great screams.
Nothing hits like one of his like tribal screams.
Yeah.
I think like Monkey Wrench scream, like there's the In Your Honor scream. Him live doing, because you know you're always getting like at least 5 to 10 Dave Grohl like at the top of his lungs shouts to the people in the
just
back at
inde-
City Field.
Independent of any song, he'll just walk
Yeah.
out on stage like, "What the fuck is up?" Just scream. Yeah, that's
Different
true.
kind of scream, but I
Yes.
still give him an honorable mention.
Because I had Tim from Rise Against on my list, because I feel like it's a similar scream almost to Dave, where it's that like emphasis rock and roll kind of scream more than like the focal point of the song. Although they have some screaming songs, but
Like drones.
Yeah.
like that kind of
And-
scream.
Or like
State of the Union.
yeah, thank you. I was getting there. My brain's not working today. Who else do I have on my list? Atreyu, some good screams. And then you ever hear of, well, you know Alisana, right?
Do.
They're
Mhm.
like that he had high pitched screams. He was another one that was one of the earlier bands that I heard scream. And at first you're like, this cannot be considered good. And then you listen to it for a couple days and it is so good. And he's another one has a very high singing voice. And then he lets out these like very high screams. Not whiny though.
He has some deep ones too.
Yeah. I should check up on them because I think they're still making music. I'm not sure. They did one of those like back-to-back album story things, kind of like Coheed likes to do, where they just tell like a real long story. Yeah, that's most of my screamers, but thank you, Blake, for the question because you got me listening to
Awesome
heavy stuff
question.
again all week. Especially we're listening to the Grin and Bear album nonstop, which is not a screaming album. So it was nice contrast to have like the lighter stuff and then the heavy stuff depending on my mood. I love it.
The yin and the yang.
That's right. The balance that we need
Balance.
to fill our ears with all day long. When you're in the office and you want to just scream along Taking Back Sunday and you can't. So you type in all caps lyrics to your coworker.
Just I got it bad.
Yep. This is what living like this does. That's such a good album. I'm gonna definitely get that vinyl. It's gonna be good.
I think I have like the one with just like the straight 10 songs, but I don't know if I might have to like bend and get the bonus one, the anniversary one.
I'm hoping my record store gets it and that I can just buy it because it's easier to see an album in person and buy it. When you're just ordering it online, it's less exciting. I like to just be flipping through and then you see an album cover that you recognize and it's
You
just
snag it up.
yeah, it's so exciting. Like I didn't want to spend $50 today, but
But oh well.
yeah, I'm gonna have to. I have no choice. Literally no choice.
Fates led me to this album.
Yep. So what do we have next week? Do you have anything on the radar? Because I'm honestly not too sure.
I think it's a quiet week,
All right.
but let me double check.
Yeah. We'll
Like, give me some time to catch up on past releases I haven't listened to yet.
yeah. We'll come.
We got Prince Daddy and the Hyena. If you listen to them,
I never heard of them, but
They're-
it's a
they're
pretty
pretty
great
good.
name. Prince Daddy and the Hyena. All right. Cool.
like I still have to listen to that Drug Church album.
Oh yeah, that was
And-
great too. Another band I never heard of that someone my coworker told me about. Which you
And
heard
Hot
of
Water
them,
Music going out too, I think.
All right, we got some stuff.
We got
and
some
we'll come up with some
catch-up
fun
stuff.
topics. Yeah, don't worry. We'll have plenty of music talk next week.
Interview TBD.
Yes. TBD, I'm not familiar with their work. I see them on every festival lineup though. Yeah. All right, that's our show. We'll see everyone next week. Thank you for listening. We love you.
Love you, Nick. Love our listeners. Until next week.
Love you too, Brett. Bye. Peace.